long time ago, in the distant outer edges of China, a group of travelers found themselves fleeing desperately from Mongolian warriors. Their leader, William, made a grim decision to cut loose their horses, using the animals to draw scavengers away and buy his men precious time to escape. Night fell, and the group gathered around their camp to recover from the day's perilous fight. It was then revealed that these men were mercenaries, driven to this treacherous land in search of the legendary black powder. As they contemplated abandoning their quest altogether, the shadows around them stirred. A creature, swift and relentless, descended upon the camp, attacking with ferocious intent. One by one, the mercenaries fell, until only William and his steadfast companion, Tovar, remained. The beast returned for another strike, but William managed a decisive blow, injuring the monster. Shaken and unsure of what they had encountered, the two survivors chose to flee the compromised campsite immediately. The following day, they resumed their journey, but their reprieve was short-lived. The Mongolians discovered them once again, forcing William and Tovar into a desperate flight. Their path brought them to the imposing sight of the Great Wall of China. Before they could take in its grandeur, they were met by a barrage of arrows that narrowly missed their mark. With their options dwindling, William made a bold choice: surrender to the Chinese forces in hopes of mercy rather than fall into Mongolian hands. The commanders of the Great Wall were stunned by the sight of a massive claw William had brought with him. Commander Lin demanded to know where it had come from. When William claimed he had slain the creature himself, the room erupted in laughter. The Chinese commanders dismissed his tale as absurd. Yet, one among them, strategist Wang, considered the possibility that the foreigners spoke the truth. He noted the blood staining their weapons and clothing, unmistakably that of the mysterious beast. Before further deliberation on the fate of the two strangers could take place, an urgent report arrived. Enemy forces had been spotted from the observation towers, advancing swiftly toward the wall. General Shao wasted no time, commanding the armies to prepare for battle. William and Tovar were brought onto the wall, where they beheld a spectacle of military might. Rows upon rows of soldiers clad in vibrant, color-coded armor, each hue signifying a unique role within the army. Among the formations, the soldiers in blue stood out, a unit of women led by the formidable Commander Lin. They marched to the forefront, wielding massive spears and positioning themselves at the edge of the wall. The armies waited, disciplined and still. In the distance, a green horde surged into view, monstrous and menacing, charging toward the wall with terrifying speed. The battle was about to begin. General Shao swiftly commands the artillery to fire, unleashing a torrent of fireballs into the night sky, creating a fiery inferno upon impact. Simultaneously, the archers take their positions, releasing a relentless barrage of arrows that darkens the heavens. The creatures roar in fury as they charge forward, many falling under the deadly hail, yet their numbers prevail, and they reach the base of the towering wall. The women in blue armor spring into action, leaping down toward the beasts with precision and bravery. Their spears strike true, but the danger is immense as they are pulled back up by their comrades. The clash is brutal, and despite their heroic efforts, many soldiers are lost to the relentless assault. In the distance, a new threat emerges. The Queen of the Monsters appears, flanked by her formidable bodyguards. Her presence is commanding, and her intentions are clear. Strategist Wang quickly reports this to General Shao, who orders the artillery to target the Queen directly. Yet, her bodyguards react with lightning speed, shielding her from harm and preserving her authority on the battlefield. Furious, the Queen lets out a deafening roar, issuing new orders to her army. Her creatures adapt their strategy, swarming the wall and climbing its towering height with alarming agility. Chaos erupts as the monsters breach the defenses, attacking soldiers and hurling them off the wall with terrifying force. Amidst the turmoil, William and Tovar struggle to break free. To their surprise, a man named Ballard appears and cuts their ropes, freeing them in the nick of time. Nearby, a young soldier named Peng, driven by courage and fear, charges at one of the monsters, but is quickly overpowered. Just as the creature prepares to strike him down, William intervenes, grabbing a spear and plunging it into the beast's mouth. The monster thrashes wildly, forcing William backward, but with Tovar's help, they manage to pierce its heart and bring it down. Tovar seizes a red cape from the ground and waves it provocatively, luring another creature like a bull to a matador. The beast charges, falling into their trap as William strikes it with a well-placed arrow, narrowly avoiding its final desperate attack. The humans' resilience proves too much for the monsters, and the Queen, seeing the heavy losses inflicted upon her forces, orders a retreat. Her sound waves command the remaining creatures to fall back, carrying away their dead and denying the humans any chance to learn from their fallen foes. As the battle concludes, the Chinese commanders approach William and Tovar. The two men drop their weapons immediately in a gesture of surrender and cooperation. General Shao acknowledges their bravery and, instead of imprisoning them, grants them living quarters as a sign of respect. After the siege, the young soldier Peng approaches William, expressing heartfelt gratitude for saving his life. It is then that they meet Ballard, their mysterious savior, who reveals his own story. He had come in search of the black powder 25 years ago, only to be captured and forced to remain as an English teacher. His presence hints at deeper ties between the East and West, and the journey ahead remains uncertain. The old man, Ballard, reveals the prize William and Tovar have been seeking, the mysterious black powder. He assures them there is enough for all three to take, and he proposes they make their escape during the next siege, slipping away under the cover of the chaos. But their conversation is interrupted when strategist Wang summons them urgently. He has found a magnet among their belongings and believes it holds the key to William's success against the monster in their first encounter. The magnet, Wang suggests, might interfere with the creature's mind, rendering it vulnerable. Wang identifies the creatures as Tao Tais, beings that arrived on Earth from outer space 20 centuries ago. Rising every 60 years, they attack from the north of China, seeking to devour everything in their path to nourish their queen, enabling her to reproduce. The stakes are dire. The capital, only 300 miles away, houses 2 million people. Their numbers would swell uncontrollably, threatening the entire world. Meanwhile, General Shao investigates reports of missing personnel at the Western Towers, joined by Commander Lin. They find bodies left behind by the monsters, an uncharacteristic move as the Tao Tais typically devour their victims. As the soldiers advance cautiously, they spot a Tao Tai ahead of them, but General Shao notices a second reflection in the shadows behind them. The creatures strike simultaneously, their ambush swift and deadly. Shao fights valiantly, defending his team and saving Lin, but he is mortally wounded in the process. The army arrives too late to save him. With his dying breath, Shao appoints Lin as his successor and warns her to never underestimate the monster's intelligence. A grand funeral honors General Shao, with countless candles released into the night sky to light his path to the afterlife. Amid the mourning, Envoy Shen arrives from the Emperor, bearing records from the previous Tao Tai uprising 60 years earlier. The writings reveal that the creatures were paralyzed when soldiers lured them to a mountain containing a magnet similar to William's. Determined to confirm the magnet's effect on the Tao Tais, William proposes capturing one alive, using hooks coated with anesthetics. He suggests a technique akin to whale hunting. Tovar, however, is outraged at the idea, reminding William of their plan to escape with the black powder rather than risk their lives further. Despite his objections, strategist Wang begins preparing the anesthetic-coated hooks, setting the stage for a daring attempt to capture a Tao Tai and unravel their secrets. The Tao Tais arrive in overwhelming numbers, attempting to sneak onto the wall under the cover of chaos. The soldiers launch a fierce defense, striking in precise formations. Giant blades emerge from the walls, slicing through the creatures with ruthless efficiency, while warriors battle the Tao Tais at the edges of the stronghold. Commander Lin gives the command to fire the harpoons, and massive hooks shoot into the horde, ensnaring many of the monsters with chains. But the creatures, intelligent and relentless, quickly grasp the humans' intentions and tear through the restraints, except for one. Amid the chaos, Ballard presses Tovar to flee the wall immediately, seizing the opportunity while the battle rages. Tovar refuses, unwilling to abandon his friend. William, too, wrestles with the temptation to escape, but in a moment of resolve, he chooses to stay and aid the commanders in capturing the last Tao Tai still bound by chains. The army creates a blazing ring of fire around the trapped creature, isolating it from the others. William descends into the fiery field, sliding across the metal walls to reach the unconscious beast. He secures it with ropes for retrieval, but hostile Tao Tais ambush him, forcing him into a desperate fight for survival. Just as the situation turns dire, Tovar appears, rescuing William and chastising him for deviating from their escape plan. Their heated exchange is cut short as more Tao Tais emerge from the fog. The two friends fight side by side, their teamwork prevailing against the relentless onslaught. Despite their efforts, the creatures begin to breach the wall of flames, encircling the men in overwhelming numbers. Just as the monsters charge, the Chinese army unleashes a barrage of bombs, the explosions obliterating the Tao Tais and saving William and Tovar in the nick of time. The captured beast is caged and brought into the care of strategist Wang, who experiments with the magnet's effects. As Wang approaches with the rock, the Tao Tai grows still, its movement ceasing entirely, confirming the magnet's power over the creatures. Envoy Shen, however, demands the captured Tao Te be transported to the Emperor immediately, dismissing Wang's protests with the weight of the king's direct orders. As the envoy departs with the caged monster, the army detects unsettling movements near the base of the wall. Descending to investigate, the soldiers discover the unthinkable. The Tao Te's have dug a massive tunnel through the base, using the previous battles as a mere diversion to blindside their defenses. Meanwhile, Ballard and Tovar seize their chance to steal the black powder and escape the Great Wall, taking advantage of the distraction caused by the army's investigation of the Tao Te's. As they make their move, William confronts them, urging Tovar to stay and fight for a cause greater than themselves. Tovar dismisses his plea, convinced that victory against the monsters is impossible and that William's optimism blinds him to reality. Their argument escalates until Ballard strikes William unconscious, insisting to Tovar that this is their only chance to flee. Reluctantly, Tovar leaves his friend behind. General Lin soon learns of the Westerners' escape and is enraged, viewing William's involvement as a betrayal. Though he insists he tried to stop his friends, Lin's anger remains unchecked until Peng steps forward to vouch for him, recounting how he saw William attempting to prevent the others from fleeing. Lin orders the immediate capture of the traitors, but still has William imprisoned to prevent any further interference with the army's efforts. Determined to intercept the Tao Te horde before they reach the capital, Lin decides to use untested hot air balloons powered by black powder for rapid transport. The ascent is perilous, and many soldiers are lost in fiery accidents, leaving only a small contingent able to make the journey toward the besieged city. Shortly afterward, Peng releases William from his cell, explaining that Lin ordered his release as she departed for the capital. Rushing outside, William finds Wang, who grimly informs him of their failure to stop the Tao Te's from breaching the wall. Wang explains that their only remaining hope is to kill the queen, as her death would disable the entire army. Defying Wang's suggestion to leave, William resolves to follow Lin and join her in the fight to save humanity. Meanwhile, Lin and her surviving forces reach the capital, only to find it overrun by swarming Tao Te's. As they fight desperately to reach the palace, the group is grounded by the relentless creatures. Lin becomes surrounded, the monsters roaring furiously as they close in for the kill. In a moment of desperation, William arrives just in time, pulling Lin into the air while using grenades to repel the monsters swarming below. Together, they fly toward the palace, where they retrieve the previously captured Tao Te. Strategist Wang devises a bold plan: load the captured creature with explosives and release it toward the queen. Using the city's sewer system as their path, the team prepares to execute the dangerous strategy, knowing it may be their last chance to save the world from annihilation. However, their plan doesn't go smoothly, as the creatures discover their location and eliminate most of the team, leaving the young warrior Peng wounded but alive. Suddenly, numerous Tao Te's charge into the underground tunnels. Peng, determined to save the others, sacrifices himself, taking the monsters with him and blocking the pathway. With no time to mourn, Wang quickly opens the doors to the outside, releasing the monster tied with black powder explosives. The creature awakens immediately once the magnet is removed. Just as planned, it begins devouring the provided meat and runs outside, attempting to deliver it to its queen. The three make their way into a tower. Wang stays behind to guard the door with the magnet, while William and Lin ascend to higher ground for a clear shot. William fires an arrow at the queen, but her bodyguards intercept it. The arrow explodes in the air, alerting the creatures. As William rushes up the tower to try again, the queen commands her army to attack the buildings, and the Tao Te's swarm inside. Seeing the impending danger, Wang throws the magnet toward his teammates before being sacrificed. William attempts another shot, but once again, the creatures block it, and the explosion reveals their position. Now fully aware of her attackers, the queen orders all her creatures toward them. With one chance remaining, William and Lin leap out of the windows, swinging from ropes to evade the Tao Te's lunging at them. In a desperate move, William tosses the magnet at the bodyguards, while Lin throws the spear. The stone delays the creature's movements, allowing the spear to land inside the queen's barrier. The queen frantically tries to extinguish the flames, but a massive explosion destroys her and everything within. As the queen falls, all the Tao Te's are immobilized. Thousands of creatures lie lifeless in the palace, marking a hard-fought victory for humanity. Sometime later, William returns to the Great Wall and finds his friend Tovar imprisoned by the Chinese army. He tells Tovar that the emperor gave him a choice: his friend's life or the powders. William chose friendship, realizing its worth above material gain. With Tovar's freedom secured, William rides off into the distance alongside the army's escorts. From the walls, General Lin watches him leave, silently bidding farewell. William looks back one last time, sensing that someday he will return to this place. And with that, this story ends here. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like our channel and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. Also, let us know what movie you would love us to recap for you.